Nah, I had it on mute. I wasn't talking to nothing. I'm about to put it in the chat now. I wasn't talking to nothing like that. But I should be good now, right? Can y'all hear me out there? Yeah, but nah, good looking though. I appreciate you letting me know because I have done that before. While I be talking and thinking that y'all hear me and dudes don't be hearing nothing. But y'all know what it is. Season two, underway, kicked off tonight. Congrats to the Super Bowl winner, the Ravens. He won the first season. He went against the Bucks. Murph, I took the Ravens to win the bowl when he went against the Bucks simply because I felt like the personnel that the Ravens had compares to the Bucks, and sure enough, the Bucks could tell you that. The Bucks feel like, he got to get different, he got to get better personnel to compete with the Ravens. So that's what happened. So Ravens just season one champions. Now we're on to season two. Draft was tonight. Draft was pretty interesting. I got some players that I like, you know. Certain players that I wanted ended up getting snatched up before I got a chance to do anything, but I'm still happy with what I got. We got a chance to fill some much needed holes. So hey, we're gonna make it do what it do. But yeah, season two is here. A couple of games was already played tonight rather. I ain't gonna front, that draft went a little longer than I wanted it to as well. You know, normally we knock the drafts out in an hour. That draft lasted about an hour and 20 minutes. So but hey, whatever, we got through it. Definitely had a hiccup in free agency. Situation went down, but you know, we pushed through. You know what I mean? We pushed through, um, and we got through it, and now here we are, week one. Here we are, week one of the regular season in season two. I'm still gonna do 1 through 32. I wanted to do the 1 through 32 teams. I'm still gonna do it. I didn't get a chance to do it yet, but I'm gonna do that. Just my 32 teams ranked. Week one has nothing to do with nothing. This was gonna be my ranked 32 teams coming into this season. And then we're gonna see how things play out and go from there. What I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna do my prediction for the division winners of who I think gonna win the division, and I'm not gonna do who I think the wild card teams. I'll do another fifth quarter for that. Right now, we'll just do division winners predictions. My prediction for division winner in AFC North this time around, I'm going to go with the Ravens again. They won the bowl. They're going to come into this season with a ton of confidence. It's still going to be close between him and Steelers. It's going to come down to late in the season once again, but I'm going to give the nod to the Ravens to win the division in the AFC North. AFC South, none of these teams finished over 500 last season, so I'm going to say Texans favorite to win again in this division. AFC East, but I will say though, the Titans look like, as far as the draft, look like he was getting some pretty good pieces in the draft. So we'll see how them pieces play out. But and towards the end of the season last year, the Titans was playing pretty good ball. He won his last few games towards the end of the year. So we'll see if that translate over to this season. And the AFC East, um, I'm gonna go Bills. I'm gonna go Bills again. I'm gonna go Bills again. Jets and Dolphins both made the playoffs, but I don't know. I think this Bills team got something going over there. I got the Bills coming out on top in the AFC East. And the AFC West, it's going to be pretty interesting this time around because the Broncos has a new user, Snub, pretty good user. The only question is how much rust will he have on them? Big game James. Chargers missed the playoffs last season. I think he coming to the season with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to be much competitive. He's definitely going to give the Raiders all he can handle, I believe. He actually split with the Raiders last season. So Chargers going to have something to say, but this is me predicting the division winners right now, and I'm going to take the Raiders to win this division, but I'm telling you now, the Chargers is going to have something to say. In the NFC North, I'll go with the Packers. I'll go with the Packers again. Bears made the playoffs. He just got in, but he still got in. Lions had a terrible season. I look for the Lions to have a better season this time around, but Packers made it all the way to the NFC chip. I think the Packers, don't take a step back. If anything, he takes a step forward. I got the Packers winning the NFC North and NFC South. How could I not go with the NFC champions? Panthers, solid team. They definitely will be better than what they were last year. But I just got the Bucks coming out. This division once again. But I think the Panthers will definitely have a better season than what he did last year, despite he made the playoffs. In NFC East, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Eagles again. My opinion, though, I was gonna pick the Cowboys, but I would like to wait a few weeks. But I'm doing it now, so there is no waiting. I'm going to take the Eagles, but pay attention to the Cowboys this season. I think the Cowboys definitely going to give the Eagles more of a challenge this year than he did last year. But as of right now, if you hold my feet to the fire, I'll have to take the Eagles. So there's who I'm taking out the NFC East. And the NFC West, Seahawks caught fire last year. They won about 13 games in a row headed into the playoffs. Rams offense was almost in top in every category, but defense was horrendous, and they missed the playoffs. Can the Rams bounce back this year and have a better season than what they did last year? That's the main question. We'll find out. The Niners and Cardinals started out pretty good last year, but then they fell apart towards the second half, and the 49ers was just inconsistent. But again, if you ask me who's my team, I'm coming out the NFC West, I'm taking Seahawks. I'll do another fifth quarter to, later on to pick who I think is going to be the wild cards coming out. So for right now, I just did my prediction for the winners, the division winners. But as you can see, we had the Cowboys and Jags kick off. Cowboys won this one 62-24. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys, what they like more about this score than anything is that they only allowed 24 points. Scoring points never have been an issue for the Cowboys. It was the fact of them scoring and then giving up 50 to their opponent, even though they may still have won. But they only give up 24 points. Great defensive effort for the Cowboys in this one. The Jags, this is not the way you want to start off a season. After missing the playoffs last season, you got to come out, and if you're going to make any type of statement, even if you lose, you got to put out a better effort than this. But Jags, this is not the start that you want if you're the Jags. Steelers and Falcons, I'm going to go Steelers in this one, but this one could be pretty interesting. If the Falcons could get Bijan going on the ground, that slows the game down in his favor, and it gives the Steelers defense something more they have to worry about, as far as play action and things like that. But Falcons got more to worry about, in my opinion, so I'm going to go Steelers in this one. I'll go Steelers 45, Falcons 29. Giants and Saints. Saints not back in yet. I guess he missed everything. He didn't even get his team yet. But if this game I'm just going to set this for the Giants right now, because if he ain't get his team yet, then That's already one day down the drain without any type of effort to set up a game or anything. So I'm just gonna get out to the Giants right now. If they play, they play. Lions and Panthers. Listen, I think the Lions should have a better season than what he did last year. Lions was bad. They didn't make the playoffs, and they come close to making the playoffs. Panthers coming off a playoff berth. This should be interesting though, because I think the Lions want to have a redemption season. Um, he's going to Carolina. I think the Lions going to put up quite a good effort in this one, but I'm still going to get the nod to the Panthers. I'll take Panthers in this one, 31-23 over the Lions. Next, you got Bengals and Colts. Colts making deals, making trades. It's like a revolving door over there with that Colts team. But we'll see how these pieces play out over there. They're going against the Bengals. Both teams missed the playoffs last year. Both teams, would like to get off to a good start. The good thing is for both of these teams, somebody will start off 1-0 unless it's a tie. Who will be that team? Uh, that's what we got to wait and see. But I'm actually going to go. I'm going to get the Colts a shot in this one, man. I'm going to go Colts at home over the Bengals. Colts ain't going to get picked pretty much too often, but if there's any time to get picked, is week one. You got a new team over there. You're at home. I'm going to give the Colts the benefit of the doubt. Give me Colts in this one over the Bengals, 35-31. Chiefs and Browns. Browns. Listen, let's see all them tradings they did for draft picks and everything. Let's see how it panned out. Chiefs didn't have a second half of the season last year like they did the first half. First half, they was pretty good. My opinion probably was the shocker of the league, but they couldn't maintain what they had going on. They fell apart. They missed the playoffs, so day two was out. But new season, week one, just like I said with Bengals and Colts, one of these teams will start off 1-0. That's a nice little jump start to the season. I think the Chiefs pull this out. Chiefs, like I said, they played good last year in the early part. They just faded away in the second half, but I got the Chiefs to come out and get the win in Cleveland. I'm going to say 37-30. 37-30 Chiefs over the Browns. Next, we got Bucks and Vikings. I haven't seen Vikings beat anybody. So I'm going with the Bears in this one. But hey, the good news is if you're a team that's losing to everybody, that streak got to come to an end at some time. All streaks come to an end. But I'll take the Bears over the Vikings. Meantime, between time, 48 to 28. 48-28 Bears over the Vikings. Pats and Jets. Jets coming off a playoff berth last year. They at home, opening and kicking off the season. This is a division game. This is a pretty big game for both teams in week one because somebody's going to be 1-0 in the division and somebody's going to be 0-1 in the division. Jets at home. I'm going to go Jets, but I'm looking for the Pats to have a bounce back season this year. I'm looking for them to compete much better than what they did last year. I think the Patriots is better than what their record was, but we're going to see how season two go. But I like the Jets over the Pats. I'm going to say 37 to 32. We had Niners and Cardinals. This was a division game as well. Cardinals won this one. Like I said, to me, Cardinals started out good last year. They took care of business week one against their division opponent. Good win for the Cards. They went 40-12, straight domination in this one. Broncos and Rams. I'm interested to see how Snub look again. I know he's going to be rusty, but honestly, he's going to have to come. That defense going to have to be ready. Rams put up all type of crazy offensive numbers with Puka last season. I don't see why he wouldn't be going to Puka again. So the Broncos going to have to be ready for that challenge. But if there was any team with a cornerback that can pretty much answer that bell, it would be Surtain. So Interesting matchup over there on that end. But I think the Broncos might have to get, some games under their belt before they get their rhythm. So I'm going to go Rams in this one over the Broncos. I'm going to say 44-31. Next, we got Chargers and Seahawks. Big early game. Chargers, they got a point to prove. Seahawks gave it a nice run last year. Came up just a little short against the Bucks um in that conference champion, no, in the divisional round. Not even conference champion, divisional round. Uh Lost by a few points to the Bucks, but they're at home, season opener. I'm actually gonna go Chargers in this one. I'm gonna go Chargers. I think Chargers have a serious chip on their shoulder, but it's not going to be easy at all, and it's going to be close no matter what. Even if the Seahawks do win, I still think it's going to be a close game. I'd be surprised if either guy get blown out. Give me the Seahawks over the Chargers, 35-31. Titans and Commanders. In my opinion, Titans had a pretty good offseason. Commanders just coming off a season where they didn't make the playoffs, but they had a strong second half. They just came up a few games short. I'm gonna go Commanders in this one over the Titans. We'll see what type of Titans team come out in season two. But I like Commanders in this one. I'm gonna say Commanders 39-28. Bucks and Packers. This is an NFC Championship rematch. This is a goodie. If you the Bucks, you want this game. You want this game. If you the Packers, you want this game bad, especially being at home. I think this game is going to be close, but I think the Packers get some revenge in this one. I think the Packers knock off the Bucks in this one in the home opener by a score. I'm gonna say 34-30. 34-30. I got Packs over the Bucks in a real close one. Then you got Dolphins and Bills, another divisional rival playing. Listen, Bills had a great season last year. Great season. Dolphins had a pretty good season as well. They made the playoffs. That's what it's about at the end of the day. Can the Dolphins upset the Bills? We're gonna find out. I know if there was any time to do it, this would be it. Week one, what better way to send a message to your division rival in this one? But Buffalo's home. I gotta go Buffalo, man. Give me the Bills over the Dolphins. 44-34. Texans and Raiders. This game was getting, the Raiders was running away with it, and then the Texans cut this thing to 10. We had a chance. We was down 10 with going on 2 minutes in the fourth, and we threw a pick in the red zone. And, he just threw a bomb, and then he sacked the quarterback, and he ran it back for the pick six. That was the two last scores. But I tell you one thing, what I like about this game as far as with the Texans, we shut the Raiders out in the second half. Yeah, granted, I know I just told you that, but when he caught the pick late in the game, with 2 minutes left, the game was over. Once I threw the pick, game was over. So there's other points that he got, it didn't even matter. But I like the defense that we played, to shut the Raiders out in the half. That's pretty big, man. So we're gonna take this one. We're gonna take this loss on the chin, but we definitely come out of this one with some things that we liked. And we got some young boys over here who look like they're ready to make a spark over here. But nevertheless, the Raiders took care of business in week one. They was home. They coming off a Super Bowl. No, they didn't come off a Super Bowl appearance. They're coming off an AFC Championship appearance. They took care of business. They did what they had to do. Good win for the Raiders in week one. They 1-0. We on one. Eagles and Ravens. Listen, game of the week. Possible Super Bowl preview right here. Ravens ring night. Ring night for the Ravens going against the Eagles team who started out undefeated last year late in the season, but then towards the end of the year, the funny thing about the Eagles in season one is that they went like, I want to say 13-0, and then they finished the season with like 3 losses. So the last few games was like, real a complete different team than when it was, and they was undefeated, but they still had a great season all in all. But we're gonna see how this Eagles team come out this year. We're gonna see, and we're gonna see what better time than right now. They play week one. I'm gonna go. I'm tempted to go with the Eagles because ring night, it just might be a little too much going on over there. It might get a little distracted. They still might be high from winning the bowl. And Eagles just might just come in there with their hard hat, their boots tied tight, and just take care of business. I'm gonna take the Ravens in a slight edge, really only because they're the home team. If the Eagles was home, I would take the Eagles, but I'm gonna go to Ravens in a close one. I think they're sending the fans home happy at the end of the day. I'll say Ravens 44, Eagles 40. 44-40 Ravens over the Eagles. Again, power rankings coming 1 through 32 teams. 1 through 32, and it has nothing to do with week one, anything like that. This is strictly what I'm writing, what I envision coming into the season. So being aware for that. Again, I wanted to bring the gambling aspect back, but some games was already played. I mean, look, it was only what 1, 2, 3 games played. So if anybody still want to do it, you can. You can. Only 3 games are played. If you feel like you want to pick 6 teams, let me know. Send me a DM. Let me know what player that you want to risk gamble the attribute points on, and we'll go from there. If you want to play that thing that I said called suicide, where you pick one team a week. Once you pick a team, you can no longer pick that team for the rest of the season. At the end of the season, you'll either have an upgrade or a downgrade. Either way, choice is yours. Ball is in your court. You decide who you want to take the risk with, and we just go from there. But that's it for week one. I will see y'all week two. I'm Ghost.